It may seem like the time for planting or starting a garden has gone and went. However, here's 5 plants you can start from seed and still get a good harvest this year. First one we got are beans. So what I've got here are some lima beans, these purple ones, and then some yellow beans. And I got this area that I'm gonna plant them in. Beans usually have different spacing. However, I'm just gonna do a few rows. I only got 5 lima beans, so I'm just gonna plant those at the end, and then do 2 more rows, one of each of these. We'll do about like a foot of row spacing between each of them. So beans are really easy to grow. They usually only take like a week or 2 to germinate, then maybe a couple months before you start getting harvests. Most seed packets give you the information on how far to space your plants and also the depth in which to sow them. So next up, we got green onions or chives that I'm going to plant next to my tomatoes here as a companion plant. So to plant these, you can either like broadcast them, or you can dig a small trench, uh, very small, maybe like a fourth of an inch deep, because the seeds aren't as big um, as like beans. So we're just going to make this small trench on the outside of my tomato row here, and then just put an onion every inch or 2. So these are green onions, and then I got garlic chives here. So we'll just do some of each. They're pretty small seeds. And why I plant them as a companion plant is their smell helps deter a lot of pests, just because they have a strong aroma. Next up, we're planting some cilantro. There's many other herbs you can plant as well. What I'll do is kind of mix up the soil, and then I'm just gonna sprinkle these seeds along the top, and then I'll put a little more soil on top of those just to make sure they have good seed to soil contact and that they get enough water to start growing. And just kind of sprinkle along the top. You could do like rows with these as well. So number 4, we got carrots. So I got some space in between the rows that I'm going to plant for succession plants. And these seeds are also very small, so you won't need much of a channel, as they don't need to be planted very deep. And because the seeds are so small, you're going to have to just try to spread them, and then we'll come back and thin them later. Alright, and the last plant you still have time for are cucumbers. So I've already planted a bunch of cucumbers. However, they'll eventually start dying, and then I'll have these plants to replace them. So I like to start them out in pots, and then I can transplant them when the other ones start dying. I like to plant 2 in each just to make sure I have good germination rates. And then also make sure these stay watered. If you're enjoying these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you love gardening, hit that like button.